You are tuned to the Witching Hours, episode 10. I'm your host, Knaska Carter. Today we're going to be talking about the Tiananmen Square tank man and the Mandela effect associated with this. So I've done a bit of research into it, and it seems that there was interviews with the person who took the photo, the iconic photo, and he didn't mention anything about him dying or getting run over by the tank. However, I did some research online after I actually had the memory myself. I thought to myself, I remember this guy getting run over by the tank. So in the famous photo, you see the man standing in front of these tanks, and this was on June 4th, 1989. The Chinese government ended up killing hundreds, if not thousands, of protesters. And apparently this guy never died. Apparently he survived, and it said that he was saved by onlookers, people that were close by. If you watch the video, he even climbs onto the tank, and he's holding grocery bags in his hands. I remember when I was younger watching this video and being traumatized because I saw the tank run over him. And somebody commented how they remembered it just being one tank also. So that got me thinking, okay, so I'm not the only person that remembers this version of reality. Interestingly suspicious is that they could not ever find the guy. He was also unidentified. Apparently they didn't know what his name was, this protester that was blocking the tanks. They just know him as Tank Man. So the Chinese government has said that he ended up living, and that he was not killed that day. However, there's so many people that I'm seeing online that recall him getting a run over by the tanks. So what is going on here? Is it a case of superposition? Is it a government cover-up that has occurred where they actually did kill him and they just don't want to admit that? Or is it something else entirely? I think that it's superposition, but I'm also open to it being a government cover-up, because they wouldn't want that to get out to the world. However, so many people remember that happening where he got ran over, so it just leaves me to feel really suspicious about the whole thing. So when it comes to whether or not it was a Mandela effect, I found two things that could suggest it was a Mandela effect, or even a cover-up as well, because there was a Sabrina the Teenage Witch episode where she was protesting. The principal comes out and said,
"Not another protest, Miss Sale. If we were in China, I could run you over with a tank."
So I actually have a friend, and his brother is a famous Canadian who was against the Chinese government and wanted a democracy. He ended up being put into solitary confinement. As far as I know, he's still in solitary confinement, and it has been a very long time. Probably close to 20 years now, if not more, that he's been behind bars in solitary confinement, slowly losing his mind. And he was a Canadian citizen, and there was actually a documentary put out talking about him. So to think that the Chinese government wouldn't try to cover this up, it's not too far-fetched. It's not too out there to think that they did actually run him over and try to cover it up. But if it is a case of a Mandela effect, I find that very interesting, because there's a possibility that there's alternate dimensions existing side by side, or alternate versions of events and alternate versions of ourselves coexisting side by side until it is observed. So I am going to be showing you the 2 clips that I found from Sabrina the Teenage Witch episode, and also the picture. I had already posted it to my social media, but I'm going to show you in this episode today. And you can decide for yourself what it is that you remember. But even after I posted it to TikTok, there were multiple people saying in the comments they remember him getting ran over. And there was also multiple people saying that they remember him walking away alive. So what actually happened? Every time I post a Mandela Effect to my social media, I get multiple responses. But it's not just like 1 or 2 people. It's multiple people agreeing on one point and multiple people agreeing on other points. So it leads me to believe that we do exist in a form of a multiverse, or there's multiple views of perception that we could perceive at any given time. So the iconic photo from Tank Man was taken from a hotel. From what the research that I've done online, it was taken from a hotel, and this photographer was too afraid, this journalist was too afraid to go out because he didn't want to get killed. So he ended up taking the photo from his hotel room, from what I remember in the interview. And yeah, it's just strange that the guy cannot be found. He just vanished. However, the government says that he is still alive. So who knows? Many governments have been known to lie and cause genocide on their people, or do interesting experiments that they really should not be doing, and also oppressing free speech, which we are now actually seeing in Canada. It's kind of disturbing. The second Mandela Effect that I want to get into today, which I have spoken about on my social media before, months ago, is about Danielle Bergoli, or the Catch Me Outside episode from Dr. Phil. That it was actually a Mandela Effect that I had been experiencing. And so many people remember it happening anywhere from 3 to 10 years prior, like 2007, 2008 era, which would make her very young if it was to come out at that time. Either she lied about her age, or it is a case of superposition. It's almost like it happened twice, is what I'm remembering. Most Mandela Effects, it's misremembered the way the situation went, but I have remembered it happening 2 times. So this could be explained by what is known as deja vu, which just basically means already happened. So I did some searching online and found many different people that also remember that it happened twice, and they were just as confused as I was. I had the thought, I just kind of brushed it off as like, no, this isn't real. I must just be misremembering it. And then in January, I believe it was, of this year, I thought about it again because I was going through a bunch of Mandela Effect videos online. And I remembered having that thought about how it had happened twice. So I started to do some research and found out I was not crazy after all, and there were multiple people experiencing this as well. So I am going to be showing you the multiple articles and the clips that I found of people talking about how they also remember it happening twice, which makes me feel less crazy about my own thoughts. So, as always, I really believe Mandela Effect can be explained by either a multiverse or superposition. The particles we are made of can exist in up to 3,000 places at once and be observed in multiple places at once, but it is one particle. Just like how we would be one person, we potentially could be existing into thousands of different places at once. So decide for yourself. I'm going to show you what I found. Let's get into it right now.
Cash me outside, girl, has just come popping up, and she's like now this viral star now. And in my reality, I remember her from 2010, 2009.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 10 of The Witching Hours every single Wednesday night. I will see you guys next week for another episode. As always, decide for yourself what it is that you want to believe. I'm only here to present the information. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. I love you. I'm your host, Kanaska Carter.